Happy Monday, everyone. This is Martha with Nature Niche, and for this week I thought it might be fitting to talk about the winter solstice, also known as the hibernal solstice, the official start to winter, and the longest night of the year. In the northern hemisphere, this usually falls on December 21st or 22nd. And it is this coming Wednesday, the 21st this year. In the southern hemisphere, it occurs either on June 20th or 21st. And it's something that's been celebrated since ancient times. Many cultures all over the world have recognized this important astronomical occurrence. So the solstice, the winter solstice, occurs when either of the poles reach their maximum tilt away from the sun, creating the shortest period of daylight and the longest night of the year. This day has been celebrated through many types of festivals and rituals across many different cultures. There are ancient monuments like Stonehenge in England that are aligned to, in that particular case, the setting of the sun on winter solstice. And it was often related to the return or rebirth of the sun, the lengthening of days, and sun-god worship. A modern celebration of winter solstice can focus on the changing of the seasons from fall to winter in the northern hemisphere, and give us time to pause and reflect before heading into the new year. We certainly have lots of chaos surrounding our holiday season and our current traditions and our very lengthy to-do lists. And so I was hoping with this post to give you some things to think about, maybe learn more about, and do to celebrate the winter solstice with a focus on nature, and basically thinking about the release of the dark and welcoming back the sunlight, both literally and figuratively. So you could think about and learn more about topics like plant and seed dormancy, and learn about how woody and herbaceous species survive the winter months. Similarly, for wildlife, you could think about hibernation in warm-blooded animal species and brumation in cold-blooded animals, and other winter survival adaptations that our wildlife have to get through these often harsh months. You could honor seasonal foods with a special meal featuring things like Brussels sprouts, beets, sweet potatoes, and winter squash. You could make a solstice wreath out of foraged greens, evergreens like pines and fir, juniper and cedar. This is a classic way to honor, and it's an ancient pagan cultural tradition, making that solstice wreath, and that's because evergreens were associated with protection and prosperity. You can also burn a Yule log. So it's an ancient Scandinavian tradition to bring in a log, or sometimes even it was a whole tree, that was brought into the home and burned to symbolize the return of the sun and longer hours of daylight. So you could have a fire in your fireplace or outside in an outdoor fire pit. You can create a Yule log complete with wishes for the new year, and burn it safely, or use it as a centerpiece for your upcoming holiday meals. But while you're doing that, think of all the things that you are thankful for in this past year, and the hopes you have for the coming new year. You can also bring light inside. That can be through lighting candles, making Yule lanterns, and just contemplating the past and future year. You can bundle up and enjoy the dark in its longest night, and maybe do some very peaceful stargazing and take in those lights in the darkness of our night sky. Maybe even visit a dark sky park. And you can listen for nocturnal animals like owls, or maybe even catch a glimpse of a flying squirrel. You can decorate a Yule tree outside. Again, this is an ancient tradition where they decorated with candles to symbolize the sun, the moon, and the stars, as well as loved ones that passed in the last year. That's definitely a fire hazard, so I would recommend maybe substituting in some wildlife-friendly decorations. I talked about those last week for my Monday post. Things like feeders. You can even make pine cone feeders with some peanut butter and birdseed, and do that instead. Or make nature art out of foraged materials, and find peace in that creativity and decorating outside. As a Christian, I like to think about the birth of our Savior and the light that He brought into the world. But however you choose to celebrate the winter solstice, I hope you find joy and peace and get a chance to think about all the gifts of the natural world around us. Thanks, and have a good week.